Awesome. So we are live. Woohoo! Hello, everybody. This is Catherine Toon, and I just really felt just the need for some encouragement in the midst of just a lot of stuff, right? I mean, we have kind of been as a humanity, we have been hit with Corona. We in the United States, we have been hit with all the racial tension and all of that, and a lot of hurt out there. Oh my goodness. And there is a lot of anger out there. And there is a lot of confusion out there, and there's a lot of finger pointing out there, and there's a lot of accusation there. There's some shame there. There's some condemnation out there. Out there, right? And in here, and you know, it's kind of as the battles are raging, we have these internal that are raging, right? And I really felt like, wow, lots of battles. And you know, we get weary in battles. As a matter of fact, you cannot sustain any kind of health when there is a battle, right? Because it just wears you. So warriors of all genders, of all nationalities and races, I mean, the bottom lines were one. We need to take some time to get refreshed. And I think sometimes because we see the injustice, and there are issues where Jesus said we'll always have the poor. We're licensed to say we'll just ignore the poor because we can't solve the problem. No, each of us is called to do what we do, but not carry the burden as undone. Oh, that'll preach. That was good, Jesus. Thank you for that. Yeah. Each of us is called to do what carry the burden of what is undone. Because, my goodness, this is good. At the middle and end of humanity, the broken, redeeming creation stands squarely on the shoulders of the only who can handle it. You see, Jesus is the prince's shoulders, that he's the one redeeming all things. So while we have a part to play, and we need to be faithful, okay, we don't play all the roles. And there's a time to pass it over to someone else. And there's a time to because and in that passing over and handing the baton, we need to retreat to the area of refreshment. We can't stay awake 24 hours a day fighting battles. So we need sleep. We can't, in our minds, constantly fight, grapple, whatever, deal. Oh, to lay it down. And at Squirrel, who is the source of all things, right? Him to refresh us, right? We need refreshment. You know, how many know when you are tired? Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. How many of you know when you are tired, you are cranky and you get to be unlovely? That is a level playing ground for all humanity. And so in the place where there, you know, you go and you look at the problems and the poverty and the sex trade industry and the abuses that happen and the racial tensions and all these things. And they are so overwhelming that they can really take you out. They can get you depressed. They can get you despaired. I was on a panel last night. We were talking about systemic racism. You can go see that on my page. And there was an undertone for some of the people that really broke my heart. They were just so really despaired of things getting better, right? Despaired. Okay. And God understands that. He understands that. However, and I'm saying and, but not a but, in the midst of that, we have got to put our faith in the one who is greater than us, right? The one who is the source, the one who is love. And he himself said, love never fails. Now, in the midst of the unfolding history of humanity and all of that, we are going to have to rest because so many of these issues are so complex. And they're issues of the human heart. And they're issues of the fallenness of humanity, and they're issues of the fallenness of creation that there's not one answer for other than the person of Jesus, okay? But there's not one person who is called to carry that. And there is not one solution, okay? But they're all going to be found in the person of Christ. And so we need to be intentional and have enough emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence to know when we need to withdraw from the battles that honestly are sweeping and huge. They require a God solution. Poverty requires a God solution. The sex trade industry requires a God solution. Racial injustices, satanic ritual abuse, murder. I mean, we have some real fallenness in the human race. And then right where you're at for your individual needs, right? For your healing and your provision and your whatever that is, whatever you're needing, healing, restoration, relational healing, all of that. Those are requiring a God that's huge. And isn't it amazing that he is huge? So there are times when we need to say, you know what? Battle too big for me. I'm retreating back to Jesus. And let me say this. You have permission to find joy. You know what? Joy in the midst of ugly things is not a slap in the face to the system. It's a survival mechanism. It's also saying there is something bigger than all this. There's something transcendent, right? For all of us to partake in so we can be refreshed and rejuvenated and rejoice, because we need to be refreshed, rejuvenated, and rejoice, right? And there is a time, absolutely, where we weep with those who weep. So I'm not saying be cavalier and, dismiss things, okay? But we can also not, we cannot live our whole life weeping, okay? Because that is not benefiting. So there's a place to weep with those who weep, and then allow God to take you to that transcendent place of victory and joy in him, because you're one with love, and love never fails, right? And we need to make sure that we have our eyes squarely on the one who is the source. You see, all of us, every minister, every person on the planet is not a source, but we are conduits. We're conduits of graces. We're conduits of service. We're conduits of finances. We're conduits of all of those things. but we're not the source. And where you are a conduit, you need to be prayerful about, what am I supposed to be a conduit of? Where am I supposed to give my resources? Where am I supposed to what graces am I supposed to be releasing? And be faithful in that, and rest with the fact that's not, of the things that are not done yet, because it's not all on you. Now, it's not on you. We have to be faithful, but where it's not on you, you need to give that to Jesus. And then let other people in the body be the expressions and the conduits that they're called to be. And when it's not your time or your place or whatever to be the conduit, take your refreshing, take your joy, take your transcendent hope and love. Allow God to minister to you. Allow God to replete you. Hi, Jade. So that you can wake up another day and be that conduit for the next day. Each day is enough trouble of its own. So let's focus on the day. You know, while there's things we need to plan for in the future, okay? But let's focus on that. Be faithful in that, and then rest in that. Give yourself permission to rest. Give your mind permission to rest. Give your heart permission to not bleed all the time, because the work is not yet finished yet. God is the one that's redeeming and restoring all things to himself. Let him minister to your heart. Let him heal your heart. And then you can be a conduit of healing. Anyway, I have to go. I've got a coaching to do. I just wanted to encourage you. There is joy in the midst. Oh my goodness, of course there is. Why? Because Jesus is Lord. He really cares about each and every single person. He cares about each and every situation. He cares about each and every injustice you are seeing. And he cares about the things that you care about the things that you take joy in. By all means, take joy. You have permission to. Even while there are places in your own life where you grieve. There are places. That's not being disloyal. That's not being disrespectful. That's understanding that there's something good. For these light and momentary troubles are working for us a more exceeding and eternal weight of glory as we look at the things, not the things that are seen, but the things that are unseen, because the things that are seen are temporal. All of the crap is temporal, my friends. Eventually, right? We just need to rest in that. You know, my son was like, I'm all freaking out about the global warming. And I'm like, well, that's a God-sized problem, isn't it? But he will also move through people, right? Because he cares about the polar bears, and he cares about the coral, and he cares about all the stuff that's messed up with that. And he did say, this is a world without end. We're not going to go up in flames, folks. We're not. And I don't want to get a debate about that. But I mean, you know, you can certainly put your stuff down there. But that's not the point of this message. But so we have transcendent hope. Anyway, guys, I actually do have to run. Be encouraged. Enjoy. What is this? You are called to make a difference in any situation, being negative, evil, positive, or glory. Blessings. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate that honor. Share this with someone who needs it. Oh my goodness. And you know what? Let's link arms. Let's be there for one another. Let's be faithful. Let's be joyful. Let's receive and get refreshed and restored, so that we can be an answer. And if that means you need to take a sabbatical, that means you need to take a sabbatical. I know what it's like to be fried. I know multiple times. I've had to learn that. You know, I didn't learn it the first time, so I had to go through multiple iterations of it before I really got it. Tending to be a person that, you know, performer, high energy, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And I have been redeemed. Woohoo! And you can too. Anyway, love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.